Most insurance agencies are working way too hard for way too little. They're wasting all their time on these time wasters. If that's you, then this video is for you. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to build out your insurance niche in 2025 and dominate. So let's get started. But before we do, share, subscribe, and like the channel below. Hi, I'm Chris, the founder of Niche Your Business, and we help insurance agencies find their niche and dominate their niche. So, where we're talking about finding that niche in 2025 and beyond, here's reality. When you try to sell everything, you sell nothing. I know, because I was a generalist agency for more than a decade. I always struggled to try to figure out, hey, how do I make money here? Should I be chasing this $5 policy? Or how do I get the $500 policy? I know how it feels. It just felt like a hamster on a wheel over and over. And it wasn't until I decided to niche down in flood insurance that I discovered the opportunity here on building a niche. And look, I didn't have a single lead. I had to figure out how to generate leads. I did that with inbound marketing through the StoryBrand framework and the Ask Your Answer frameworks. Some of the frameworks I am still a huge fan of today as we help customers implement our Trust to Grow framework. I get it. You don't want to turn anybody away. You want to write anything you can, especially when you're getting started. It can be a big challenge here. So how do you find your niche in 2025? Well, the first step is log into your AMS, your CRM, whatever it is you have, and find those best clients. And we talked about this in another video called Your Dream 100, but you want to start there with finding your best client and understanding what are the things that these clients have in common. Is it that they're high revenue clients? Is it they're less service? Whatever it is that you just really enjoy working with them on. Step two, you've got to look for two things. And look, I didn't do a good job doing this when I started the Flood Insurance Guru, but you've got to either make sure there is demand or you got to create demand. That's what I mean here. If the demand's over there, people are searching or trying to figure out this problem, then you just got to provide the solution. Or you've got to help them understand that they have a problem, creating that demand. So you want to do your market research to understand which one of those you're in, because look, those are two totally different paths. When there's no demand, it can take a while to create it. That's what we did when we went non-coastal on flood insurance. And now we've served the whole country of understanding these different needs, but it took a long time on YouTube and not running ads. Ads should definitely be an important part of your campaign of building that brand and building that niche. It all comes into play with your organic content, your paid ads. All these different things are pieces of the pie that come together for the whole pie. So those are things you should be looking at. Step three is align with your expertise or your passion. And for me, people ask me all the time, why did you start the Flood Insurance Guru? Look, I had a master's degree in emergency management with a background in flood mitigation, but that wasn't what motivated me to start the Flood Insurance Guru. What motivated me was I almost lost my house because of a flood zone. My insurance agent gave me the wrong information. My realtor didn't know what to do. My lender didn't have any solutions. My premiums were going from $300 to $3,000 2 weeks before closing. The closing was about to fall apart. However, because of my educational background, I was able to get that down. I was able to change my flood zone, increasing my property value. But it was then when I discovered that, look, there's a major problem here. There's a major gap in education that I want to solve here. And that's why I spent more than a decade doing that. And that's a lot of reasons why people come to us. It's like, I've been in their shoes. I know how they feel. And I'll give you an example. We help a lot of insurance companies that work with contractors. We help a lot of insurance agency owners who used to be contractors, and they were not speaking about that in their messaging. But that's a huge aspect you should be speaking about, because these contractors want to know they're in the right place. You know how they feel because you've been there before. In fact, we've got one that we work with that was fired as a contractor. Even talking about that, being completely transparent there. These things are going to build trust because of your passion, your expertise, and they're going to be able to see those things through your videos. Like in our flood videos, our passion of really helping people. Because like I tell people, we're an education and a media company first. It just so happens to own a flood insurance company. One reason is I grew up with a learning disability. Education is my passion. So then on to step 4 of what you can do to build this niche out in 2025, test small. Run some kind of mini campaign. Look, when I started doing videos more than a decade ago, I did a 30-day challenge. There was a gentleman by the name of Nicholas Ayers that I was in one of his paid courses for, and he really challenged us. Got us really uncomfortable to be comfortable in video. And one of the things was a 30-day challenge. Just do video for 30 days and see what kind of impact it had. Now, we didn't do 30 days of flood videos. We did 30 days of different videos. I had one video where I was in my daughter's dollhouse. I was talking about roof coverage. This is when I was still a traditional PNC agent. But for 30 days, I started getting all these questions from people. And then after that 30-day challenge, I'll call it, that's when I made the decision, okay, for 1 year, we're going to create flood videos only. And I did it every day for a year on our YouTube channel. Then on our Facebook and other social media platforms, I started blogging, started podcasting. Before I knew it, it took off. So a year down the road, I had to decide, was I still going to be a generalist or was I going to niche down? So I decided the niche down. However, I made one mistake that I would correct here in 2025, and that is I wouldn't just go that flood niche. Instead, I would build what I would call an umbrella brand. So I would have kept my old company and I would have built out these different niches, and they almost serve as their own departments. And I've talked about that in another video, but that was one of the mistakes that I made that I would probably correct today. That way you continue to have the revenues from those other areas, and maybe you have different people in your organization that that's all they do. For example, for me, it's flood, but for someone else, it could be commercial insurance. For someone else, it could be high net worth homeowners, and understanding that. And that's kind of how I would build it out in 2025 and beyond. And then knowing this, what you can do is you can build your messaging out for each one of these departments, understanding the challenges people are having. They're trying to get from point A to point B. What does transformation look like for them? Making sure that you are the guide, they are the hero, understanding their external, their internal, their philosophical problems, and all these things. But by dialing this in, and I was just talking to my content manager about asking the right questions on forums when they fill in the forms out, and then segmenting your audience based on that and delivering the right message for them. Look, when insurance agencies are building out these niches, one of the biggest failures we see them do is not segmenting correctly on their data. And so what they're doing is they're sending the exact same message to anyone who fills a form out on their website. Look, someone who fills a form out on my website says they have a loan closing coming up, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. That's a different message than someone who doesn't even own a home yet. Yet we're delivering the same message to all of them. No wonder we're not getting response. No wonder we're not connecting with a customer. Our messaging is off. And this is another area where when we're niching down and we're asking certain questions in forums, it allows us to dial in our messaging. So that's something you want to pay attention to as you're picking your niche here in 2025 and beyond, and you're figuring out how to do all this. So here are 4 things I want you to do here in 2025. I want you to pull up your book of business. When you pull that book of business, I want you to circle your best clients in there. And I want you to go to the ChatGPT, and I will include this in the link in our target audience builder for you. And I want you to put that type of client into the target audience builder, and it's going to give you 10 different factors about this audience as you build this audience out, understanding their demographics, their pain points, all these things. And I want you to save that. And you're going to save that because you're going to use that in your messaging for these clients. Then I want you to look for different patterns. For example, do they make certain income level? Are they married, higher educated? What you're just going to learn is they're making some of the more common decisions, why they're making decisions, why they're not making decisions. You're going to understand what it is that motivates them to take action. This is going to help you when you come up with what's called your call to actions, what steps you want people to take in your content. So as you go through all this, choose your focus in the next 90 days and start to focus in and start to test all this. And this is significantly help you in 2025. If you want help finding your niche or continue to develop your niche here in 2025 and beyond, in the description below, you can grab our free guide on how to build your niche that we've built out for you. And as we continue to use this every day, I'm Chris, and I look forward to speaking to you in our next video. Thank you.